Okay, we should be live.
Hey guys, welcome to the Virtual Knife Academy for Friday. We are bringing you another 12 o'clock hanging out with the guys of LTWK. We've got some things going on. Not really. We're still at home. We're still
Not
doing it.
really.
Well, we thought we'd have some fun just kind of hanging today. And Scott was going to go through those books that we keep seeing behind his shoulder and tell us exactly what he has been reading.
I never read
will.
those books. He can't
will.
read, so
Those are
Just
just
props.
Shut up.
they're just cardboard boxes with
I don't want,
stickers
if I
printed
pull
on
this
them.
book out, I'll tumble the whole shebang.
See,
You see
that
this book
Oh, I'll
that
give you
says-
$1 if you do it.
the dresser that's those
Double
are
up.
on only has 3 legs, and the books are working as a counterbalance on that corner, so it doesn't topple over.
Well, that's very
Anyway,
similar to the chair he's
this
sitting in.
book here that says The Rayway Tarp by Ray Jardine is how to tarp camp, no tent. It's awesome. So there.
Have you ever done that?
Yes, he has.
Okay.
He did that at PWYP one year.
Yes, he did.
I remember the cot
I've done it
tarp.
a few times, yes,
tent
but
thing.
PWYT, that was YP, that was a good one. That was just one of those SOS heat sheet tarps.
Yeah.
I made it into a pup tent.
Hey, you remember the time we were out at Raccoon and you actually took your poncho and you turned it into it, and you slept under your poncho?
Mm-hmm.
And then in the morning, he just got up, stuck his head through the poncho hole, and
There you go.
looked around like it was a periscope.
It's about a theme raccoon with the rain.
So that was cool.
Yeah.
Cool. And then the time we were out at the gathering, and it was hot as hot.
Yeah.
Remember? You remember the thing then too. So I know
Somebody-
for a fact I've seen him do that 3 times.
That's
Just
good.
myself.
That's great.
My favorite, though, was the lean-to structure thing at LT's farm.
Oh, the one you
That-
built, the one that we
Yeah.
tore down that one time.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I
Well,
just
was
watched
down
a
there for
video
quite a
from
few
Dave
years.
Canterbury
Yep. That was
about
quite.
after you build that, light a small fire inside and watch the crowd leave the building. And I'm like, no, there's no way after all that rustling around that there's any bugs or spiders left in here. Ha! So I dug a little hole, made a little fire, made it real smoky, and holy cow, you should have saw the traffic coming out of my soon-to-be bedroom.
I believe it. I believe it.
I
really
think we were
surprised.
standing there. You could actually hear, like he lit it. You could hear all the stuff in there. You could hear it going as they were.
Nice.
Seriously.
Get out!
Yeah, it was like run. Yeah, it was a little freaky. I do remember that poncho gig though when we were at Raccoon. This was probably late June. It was pretty hot. We were out in the middle of a field, and the next day, like his poncho was literally dripping with condensation. I mean, that thing was just. You remember that? It was just, I mean, like dripping off like it was raining.
Well, they don't breathe at all.
Much.
Yeah, no, he had it down tight to the ground and like crawled under it. It was a good setup. But
Some guy used to sell shock cord poles for a tent, kind of, but he had them sized so that you could make, your poncho into a tent. It was to the crossed, hold the hood over a certain way, and you just kind of lift up the side crawler and put it back down. And before I could order it, they were gone or he was gone. I don't know what happened, but I had mine rigged a different way.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it was cool.
So now that you have all this cool stuff that you have now,
Yeah, you mean a trailer with a
house
porta
with
potty?
wheels.
Yeah,
that's
and air conditioning.
yeah, all the stuff that you have, would you
Yeah.
would you still consider doing the camper, or I mean the tarp thing?
In a heartbeat.
Would you?
Oh yeah. The only thing that would hold me back is now laying on the ground with a sleeping pad. That's going to be hard on my hips. A little arthritis cooking there, but other than that, yeah, I would do it, no problem. Even after all of the Bigfoot stuff that I've listened to and read, and like, a snack? Let's go sniff this guy's tent and scare the crap out of him. I'd still do it. What?
Words.
I had a lag. It was a lag. I didn't hear anything.
Oh, sorry.
What'd you say, LT?
No, I'm saying, would you do it now? Or I mean, I was going to ask you all this Bigfoot stuff you've been doing.
Yeah. Oh, it's
Yeah.
real.
No, I'm not saying. I'm not going to get into. I'm not going to argue
Oh,
with
yeah.
you. I have a legit question.
Okay, ready to go.
Okay, is Bigfoot behind this coronavirus thing?
Oh, I don't think so, but I have to listen to. I'm very behind on all of my conspiracy podcasts because I'm not standing in front of the grinder. I don't have. It's not conducive being around here to putting earbuds in and just sitting there for an hour and listening to Tony Merkel on the conspiracy theories and stuff. So I gotta get caught up. Yeah.
Oh,
On
yeah,
the,
yeah. Okay, I know who you're
Hammer
talking
Lane
about.
Legends and the trucker one. He has a real good truck driving one now too. But the conspiracy thing podcast, it escapes me right now.
Right on. Good. So, hey guys, thanks for tuning in. We are glad to have you here on this fine Friday. It's a little bit cold over here. I'm not going to lie. Yesterday I woke up, there was frost.
A little bit.
Like, what the heck? Come on, man. We're what? Mid-April. It's like the 17th.
I was wearing my anorak out hiking yesterday.
Oh my goodness. It was a little bit chilly. So, yeah, but
Yeah, here
other
too.
than that, so what have you guys been doing? Let's start with Mikey, because he hadn't been saying nothing. He's staring at the screen.
I've been getting things ready to go to South Carolina to retrieve my mother. So that's been my last couple of days.
Yeah,
It's
you're gonna
important stuff.
now. Are you making this trip with all the required like gloves, masks? Are you?
Oh yeah, gloves, mask, Lysol wipes, the whole nine.
You packing your own
Thank you.
food, or you gonna
Oh yeah,
stop?
nope. Only planning on stopping to get gas.
Good.
So hit the bathroom, hit the gas, and you're just gonna pack a lunch and
Yep.
call it done.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Is this gonna be a quickie?
Yeah, down one day, back the next.
Well, definitely be safe and hopefully everything works out good. I think things are starting to get back to normal. I mean, what are you guys you feeling that?
I've heard mixed reports. I've heard people in Maryland are getting stopped at the border, and if you have an out-of-state plate, you're not allowed to go through in there. And I've heard other people getting harassed at, different places and getting asked what they're doing, whether they're essential employees or not. And other people I've heard are driving all over the place and having no problems. So,
well, let's hope for that part of it. Yeah,
But not too soon to screw things up again.
mm-hmm.
No, yeah. We don't want to have we're getting sick. There's no doubt about that. Well, I do know that we still get emails. Pout House is still busy. Man, I was perusing the stuff this morning. We got some talented guys on there. Just a shout out to one of our new guys, Willie. Man, did you guys see that shaven horse and stuff he had on there? Kind of
No,
cool.
no, I haven't been on there yet this morning.
Oh yeah.
Tell me about it.
Check it out, and some wooden spoons and stuff.
Yeah, what's a shaving horse?
Well, like an old time, like it's like a sawhorse, and it has a clamp that goes down to your foot, and you push against your foot, and the clamp will come down on a piece of wood.
Oh yeah, okay.
Mike, I think you and I were talking about one. Weren't you gonna make one or something?
Yeah, we talked about making one. It's basically a primitive vise that you sit on.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
It's
good
super
for using
handy.
draw knives and stuff.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. Yeah. Something you'd see on the Wainwright shop.
Yes.
That guy who does.
Exactly.
Okay, I got
sort of. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, cool. And I like that stuff, wooden mallets and all those kind of things. Because you were gonna build. I forget you were going to build one for something, wasn't you?
My nephew does furniture out of branches and stuff. So I was talking about making him one or getting him the plans to make one for Christmas.
That's right. Yeah, they are definitely super handy for a hold down. Instead of trying to go like this when you're carving different stuff. Yeah, it's a very handy thing, and for sure. Hey, I see Brother Ange is on.
Hey.
Yeah.
Howdy. Good morning.
How many other viewers do we have?
So
I can't look.
We currently have 22 viewers.
Yeah.
Nice.
I see Flatlanders there too. Hey, Brian, going.
Cool.
So he's
I'm trying to
he's
look.
He's up by you. I know it takes me a minute to get my set up because I got to watch you guys live to know who's doing what. And then I have the Facebook. Here's my setup. I got the Skype here, Facebook in this corner of my computer because I'm super tech savvy. And my iPad over here has what's actually happening on Facebook picture-wise so I can see all 5 of us. So, Mike, yet again, why am I still in the little picture? Why am I not one of the big picture guys?
Because it's more fun that way.
Because it's you. I'm on a little picture too, buddy.
I see.
Oh, wait. You mean on Facebook? Oh.
Yeah, on Facebook.
Oh, I
Because
see.
he's
I see
logged
it over
into
there.
Facebook.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm a little picture too. That's all
You're done, Doc.
So that's it. So on a side note, brother Andy has been working on a trailer that is
right.
the trailer to drool over now.
Yeah. He
Yeah.
just sent me a video last night,
Wow.
and then
Okay.
and then a comment this morning. Yes, it's very cool.
Yeah.
I like the gas struts.
He has put in some welder time, eh, Sam?
Oh, yeah.
I just want that jockey wheel he's got on the front of his
That
trailer.
thing's
Yeah.
pretty slick.
Oh,
Yeah.
heck, I missed that.
We
Sammy
need to get one for our trailer.
Yes, we do.
Yeah. Well, our trailer needs to have like a whole go through. So
I'm going to drop it off at Andy's when he's done with his, and then however it returns to us, it'll be fine.
It's like here. It's like a palette. Go ahead and paint. Paint it on. Paint it on. I see brother Joe Flowers from North Carolina is on. Hey Joe, how's the machete world treating you, buddy?
Yo,
Good.
Paul's
hey-
on. Hi, Paul.
We got some knives to talk about today. Man, I'll tell you what.
Sweet.
We're getting a lot of email questions. People just going, "Hey, what do you got in stock?" So I'm thinking the knife buying public's still out there. I think people are still going out and doing things. I know Nick's still doing some hiking.
Yep.
I talked for you guys that know Kerry. I talked to Kerry the other night. He called. He's getting out. He says, I'm doing my social distancing. I'm just going out to my hunting places and scouting for turkey. So he's
I figured he'd be
out
fishing.
he's doing some wood time. So yeah, man, that's good. I see mom and dad are on. My pop says hello, guys.
Hi, Grandma.
Hey.
Hi, Granddad.
I'm on with Dad.
Yeah, all is good. I see.
Awesome.
I see Paul's on too. Paul sent me some cool pictures of some Molly battery holders yesterday.
Oh, yeah?
You ever see those? So those little battery holders like you can carry in your backpack, and I have them in my rig and stuff.
County Com has stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, they hook right on the Molly because I was telling Sammy, I said, Sam, check these out. We put them like right on the back seat of the, how we got the Blue Ridge Overland gear, got all that Molly on the back, put that battery holder in there, throw some batteries in that. But we got the Molly sheaths, so anybody out there that's looking to put a knife on a setup, right, Mikey? That's a good rig.
Yeah.
Also works great on the vents on the tailgate of a JK.
Yeah. Well, I got that idea from Paul. Paul sent me a picture. Like, yeah, that's a no-brainer. I got to do that. So we put it on the vent on the back of the Jeep, and they look really, really good. I don't know if Paul could put a picture up of the battery holders or not. Man, they were slick. I'm thinking I might have to grab a couple. Where'd you say they were? County Com?
County Com has the plastic battery separators, and some of them even glow in the dark. I don't remember seeing a clip or anything for Molly, so it might be a different company.
Oh, he put up the name.
Yeah.
You see it,
The
Mike?
battery vault, is that it?
Tharm cell vaults.
Mm-hmm.
THYRM.
Yeah, those are very cool.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Paul.
They make some really cool products. I've seen their stuff before. Yeah.
Okay.
That's a cool setup for sure.
Something to check out when we're done.
The other thing, if you want to have like double A's and triple A's, Triple Aught Design makes a soft pouch that is also Molly compatible. It's a little bit smaller, but it's a really nice way to have those tiny batteries with you if you want. Yeah, it's good stuff.
Okay.
Because I
Are
carry
they separated?
You can be. You have to. You buy the plastic case that goes into the little pouch accordingly.
Oh, okay.
So then it holds them just like a box of batteries or a patch of batteries.
So you still use the little plastic containers?
You can, yeah. You don't have to. It's made in such a way. It's like a little envelope almost, where they don't really fall over or anything. It's pretty nice.
All right.
It's
Cool.
tiny.
Well, I am a
But-
big fan of the plastic ones for sure because I carry them in my bag all the time. So I got some. I think I have one set up for triple A's, one set up for double A's, and one set up for my flashlight.
Because every time you pull it out of your
Cool.
pocket, it's dead.
Was it dead yesterday when I pulled it out?
It's the first time you tried to use it and it turned on.
All right, so it wasn't dead.
I don't know. I like the rechargeable setup from
Oh, I know.
Olight
Yeah.
with the
Right on.
magnetic
For
base.
sure.
That's so easy.
Oh, Sammy, here me and Sam were just talking about this yesterday. I told him it sits by my computer at home. This is the
Yeah.
small one. This is the single battery one, right?
Yeah.
Yours
I
is
have
the
one of
bigger one.
I have
This,
one of those too.
I got this as a gift from my buddy Bull. This thing, I love this thing. Oh, is this the one you're talking about, Nick?
No. I actually, sad news, I went on a hike last week, I guess, a couple days ago, and I lost this. This is the new one that just came in the mail yesterday.
Oh,
But yeah, this is the H2R, I think, because it's the sideways one. But one of the things I really like about the Olight products is they have these where it's like a long 18650 battery, and that way you don't have to carry doubles; you just have singles. But yeah, if you haven't checked out the Olight products, I'm a big fan.
does
Might
that
turn
come?
me on to those.
Does that come with a headband attached?
It does.
To it?
Yeah,
have
it does.
that.
But it also has
Yeah.
the both way
Oh, the
pocket
double clip.
too.
Yeah.
You can do both. You can wear it
Put
as
it
a
on the brim
headlamp
of your hat.
where it sits like that, or if you want, yeah, you can
Right on.
flip it and have it on your hat like that. I figured this out this morning. If I put this, I don't know if you can see on there, I put a Ranger band, a long one, on the whole tube there,
Oh, I
and
see.
now it's like more grippy. So
yeah.
when I clip it onto my pocket, that was the problem. That was how I lost the other one. It fell out. So
Really?
yeah.
I thought those
So-
clips are usually pretty tight, though.
They are. But I was doing some creek crossing and stuff and jumping around, and it must have just wiggled free because when I got back to the car, it was gone, and I hadn't realized it.
Rats.
Yeah.
Where were you?
Sad.
Where were you again?
I don't think you're going to want to take them 4 mile hikes just to try to find one little flashlight.
Are you
God.
saying I don't hike? I can do 4 miles. Well, like in 2
Oh.
days. That's no problem.
I was gonna say, seriously? Last time I went on a hike with you, you whined about your hips the whole time and had to get 2 sticks and walk like this.
Now, in all fairness,
Yeah.
wasn't
That was
that
a
at the
mount-
farm going
that was
up
a
and
mountain.
down and up and down?
It's still a hike.
I know.
Yeah. This
I feel
way
the
going
same
up,
way.
this way going down.
The time that we picked the steepest direction to get to the well.
That was
Is that what you're
fun.
talking
That
about?
was a fun walk. I
No,
enjoyed
I
that.
think
Couldn't went,
he
couldn't
means in
went the easy
Vermont.
way.
Bread
This
Loaf
was
Mountain.
one, yeah, Bread Loaf Mountain. When we were on Bread Loaf Mountain, it was like we'd hike about 10 minutes and then we'd sit down for 20 and wait on Scott.
Oh,
And we-
come on.
That was downhill.
Ouch.
That's when it. I don't know why. That's when it hurt worse.
Yeah, coming down. Well, that's like coming
Weird.
downstairs after
All
you
that-
leg, right?
All
Mike?
that.
Yeah,
While
although
we're on flashlights, real quick, this is another really great one. This is another Olight, the i3T EOS. I'm sorry to jump in there like this, but this is
Good.
my at-home flashlight. So LT mentioned in our one podcast episode about how he's got a little bag for at home. Well, I took that concept and I made my own. It's a little bit smaller, and it
Nice.
actually clips onto my pants. But this little
Nice.
flashlight goes in there. Little single AAA. This is a
Yeah.
killer flashlight. For $20, I like it better than a lot of the Streamlight ones and everything. It fits good in your hand. It's convenient. It's very nice.
I can't remember which
Dig
one
it.
I was carrying. Which one? Oh, I have the Streamlight. It's the
Oh,
double
there you
A.
go. Hey, that's
Yeah.
okay. There's
Now,
nothing
see-
wrong with those lights. I just
It's-
really
it's
love
got
this
that-
little Olight.
It's got the double clip too.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same
Yeah.
on this one.
So this is the light that stays in my at-home bag though. Yeah. So that's a cool light. That's a cool light, man. Oh, I like it. Whoever came up with that double clip,
Oh, yeah. That's a
Genius.
great idea.
I
Yep.
mean, that was.
this is my home flashlight.
Right, do it again.
Off your gun.
Yeah.
It's a Valkyrie Mini.
So that mounts either to your gun or your ball cap.
Just the gun mostly.
It'll mount anywhere with enough duct tape.
I was going to say,
That's true.
Mikey, you
very
got all
true.
this free time. Just design you like a
Molly
Actually,
clip for the
paper
hat.
clip, chip clip,
Something, yeah.
chip clip it. So yeah. Hey, let's get into talking some knives. Let's talk about steel. Okay. We were just we sharpened up some of the wife's kitchen knives the other day, and Sammy says to me, he goes, "Man, this thing is really sharp." And you know what? I'm looking at all the knives that are laying there, and it was the 1095 1/16 thick butcher knife, and he goes, "This thing's freaking sharpened up like a laser." Now, here's my thing behind all of that. You got your super steels on the one side, and
Nick,
they're
what
all
are you doing?
fantastic. We love them.
Sorry, I was getting stuff out of my prop box.
He's getting ready.
That's right.
But the funny thing is, we're messing with some kitchen knives, and I had let me think. We probably had 1095. I probably had some unnamed stainlesses that I don't know. We had some AEBL, which they sharpened up like light too. I'm not going to say they didn't because they were. But his comment came off of the simple 1095 knife, and my comment back to him was, geometry of a knife makes such a big difference on the steel. Now, I'm not going to say that this was not quality steel, because 1095 is good quality steel, no doubt. But because of the thickness, I think Mike and I talked about this about kitchen knives, the 1/16 versus just the 30 seconds. How much that changes that, doesn't it?
Yeah, for sure.
That's huge. This thing, you literally barely touch it, and it's back to sharp. Hit it on the buffer, zing, zing, and it's like, whoa, crazy. Now, naturally, it's going to get dull a little quicker than our AEBL, no doubt. But boy, does geometry, when you're talking steel, geometry makes such a difference. Who wants to run with that one?
Well, I think it's definitely the relationship between the geometry of the steel and the thickness of the steel, and I think that's where people miss the mark a lot of times. Because, if you take a Scandi on a 3/16, it's going to handle completely differently than a Scandi on an 1/8 knife.
Oh, I totally agree with you. And you're going to have what appears to be a higher grind line because of the thickness of the steel.
Correct.
So that's going to change a lot. Also, I think something that some people do forget is when you're thinking about geometry of a knife, the height of that spine, from top to bottom. Let me see what I got here. Oh, look at that. I got a knife. Imagine. So the height of that steel from top to bottom could affect your geometry, let's say, depending on your thickness. And if you go from edge to full height on a flat grind, depending on the height of this blade this way, your angle's going to change.
Right.
For sure.
Right. A lot of people don't think about that because they look at a knife and they see it in 2 dimensions, just what they're seeing. They don't think about it in 3 dimensions necessarily, where it includes thickness. So if you look at some knives that are made from really, really thick stock, what's a good example? Some of the K-bar Beckers generally seem like they're from pretty thick stock. And you can put a full flat grind on that knife, and because, like LT is saying, because it's such thick stock, flat grinds have this, association of being not necessarily as strong as a saber. Well, when you're working with stock that thick, that's not the case at all, at least not in my experience. I put a full flat grind on I think it was a BK5 or whatever, and that thing was a beast, but since it was a flat grind, it was also a wicked nice slicer. So you really have to think about it in 3 dimensions.
No doubt.
Definitely.
Scott, you want to add to that one?
Yeah, for sure. Way back when, in the basement, when you're teaching me how to sharpen, we were getting some knives ready for the Monroeville show. And we were building and preparing 2 Scandi crafters. And I don't know that I sharpened them completely, or we were doing you were setting the edge and I was doing the other part. I can't remember that part, but I know that I buffed the edge and I'm cutting paper with them, and that made all the light bulbs come on, because to that point, that was the sharpest knife.
2 of them.
I had. Right. that I had tested.
Such a loving
don't
group.
Go through paper, and whatever we did, and I'm convinced the height of the knife and the height of the sharpened edge, those two geometries jived perfectly, and that was a super sharp knife. So now, years later, I have that in my mind. So whenever I'm doing some sharpening, for everyone who has never been to the shop or never watched videos potentially or something, everything gets sharpened by hand at the shop. So we set the edge by hand on a slack belt. We do the buffer. Everything is by hand. So imagine a belt right here, and I got the handle here, and this is my steady rest for the spine, and I'm going across and setting the edge, but making it on a slack belt. I can roll that knife and change that angle on the fly, depending on the thickness and the height of the knife.
Right.
And that makes, I think, a huge difference. If I go through it and then buff it and cut paper and go, it's good, but I know that it can be better, I'll either buff it a little bit more or check my sharpened edge height and maybe go back to the belt and go in just a little bit more. I mean, very little, and make that sharpened edge a wee little bit higher. Now you've got a sharper knife.
Right.
Most definitely, that is a huge game changer. Yep.
And then what you were saying about being able to adjust your angle on the fly when you're sharpening and setting the edge, that's a really kind of a deep well there. We could really talk about that a lot because, since we grind by hand, nothing is ever perfectly consistent. But honestly, I mean, our grinds are really tight. Sam does a great job grinding our knives and getting them to be really consistent throughout. But every once in a while, you'll see a knife, whether it's ours or other people's, where on the sharpened edge here, it varies a little bit thickness-wise. So
yeah,
you have to be able to adjust for that to really get good results on whatever you're working on. I mean, and that's a really cool thing that you learn, and see how that affects it in 3 dimensions, because wherever it's thick, your sharpened edge will look tall. Wherever it's thin, it might be non-existent or really thin. So that shiny part that is your actual cutting edge, if you see on any of your knives where it goes, thick to thin or whatever, it's a good example of the knife not being ground super consistently.
But you know what? In the big scheme of things, when you're looking at a hand ground knife like that, it's going to perform just absolutely spot on still.
Absolutely.
I mean, just a little bit of variance or inconsistency in that blade, it's still going to perform good. A lot of times you can see the inconsistency in the steel itself, especially in a hand forged thing. Because you're hand forging, you're not going to have that super flat surface.
Exactly. Yep. You're going to have that variation naturally.
Yeah, and those knives, if let's say you're doing a half height or something, maybe saber or something, that knife is still going to cut super good, and off the hand. Scott, I think one of the advantages of sharpening without, let's say, jigs or something, if we're not trying to set a 20 or a 17 degree angle on something, is that you can, just like you said, hey, this is sharp, but boy, if I just kicked it back, I can get a little bit sharper. Now, another thing that can affect it, especially if you guys are hand sharpening with, let's say, a work sharp, because we use our grinders. If we have the distance between our grinder, let's say we have a platen right here, and your slack area is here, that's going to be a tighter area, a convex edge. So if your slack is from here to here, same tension of the belt, you're going to get a little more bend in it when you go to do it. So, for example, a machete that has like a flat surface about this tall, if you have a nice, big, wide open convex, you're going to have a really good convex on that machete, make it really tough. If you're, let's say you're doing a bird and trout, on a bird and trout, you would want to keep your convex section, right? You're thinking like this area is tighter than you can so that you can get those things. Because I know that we used to talk about this a lot of times, depending on where you are on the belt. Like if you needed a tighter convex, we'd just come up here near the wheel because it would be tightening as it got there. Or in the middle, if we needed to have a little bit more of a convex edge on it. So doing it this way, the way we do it, and again, I mean, we've been asked a million times, hey, is that a 20-degree angle? Is it a 17-degree angle? What do you guys put on it? We say, do it by hand. It's when your knuckle touches, that's when you stop. Push it in. I don't know. I would say we're close between 17 and 20, 99% of the time. Would you?
For sure. Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
I mean,
If you look at one of our machetes, you can see that sharpened edge is way higher.
Mm-hmm.
That's because I'm using a larger slacked portion, on the machine.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
and you can get away with it on a taller knife. The best example, though, if anyone has seen one of our knives at a cutting competition, when we did that very first one and we started to get into the cutting competitions, those knives, there's a 5-inch handle, 10-inch blade. It's a lot of blade, and that blade has to do many jobs in a competition. And the portion of the blade closest to the handle, typically that's where you actually do the 2x4 cut. It's not so much swinging out at the edge, it's more of a punching motion, and it's down close to there. So whenever I would sharpen those knives, you'd have to look at the edge very close to see this. I would hold the back of that knife out a little bit more so I had a bigger convex for strength. And then when I got past a certain point, I'd roll it in, and now I'm making it thinner because out in the front end, that's where you're going to start slicing drinking straws and cutting a piece of paper or mailer tubes. So I changed the geometry within that 10 inches on a comp knife to compensate for the difference, the different cuts there in a competition. And I think
that's the advantage of having a belt grinder like the way we sharpen, and even for grinding for the most part. You have that ability to adjust on the fly, like you're saying. Now, I want to let you guys know that is a talent thing, though, too. You're going to
I was about to say,
I know that's an advanced maneuver.
Having that potential to do that, is great, and being able to do that is also great. But it takes significant amounts of practice and messing up and fixing the mess ups to get to the point where you're going to be able to do that and get that kind of controlled result the way you want. It takes a lot of practice. It's hard, but doable.
If you want to get good at sharpening, I mean, you got to sharpen.
For sure.
Yeah.
There's you can watch all the YouTube videos in the world. You can watch Scott show you a hands-on tutorial. You got to get behind the grinder and sharpen. Same thing with grinding. You can be YouTube certified, but you got to put in the butt time behind that grinder to get where you're going to go. And that goes for, from the building side of things, right on sharpening, however, Kydex, right, Sammy? I mean, what is it? You can show them how to heat it, but
what is it you used to tell me? I can show you how to do this, but until you do it 1,000 times, you're not going to understand.
Yep. Yeah. Because you got to mix it up. You got to mess it up and then be able to fix it and go on and go on and go on.
There's somebody commenting here that has said work sharps aren't so great. And try it without the guide. Okay, there's a guide that slides on there. I just bought the Ken Onion work sharp thing. Take the guide off and turn that machine so that the belt is facing you so that you can try and watch one of the videos and you'll see me sharpening. Here's my belt. There's no guides. Try that on your work sharp because I've done that, and with the work sharp knife grinding attachment, you can do it too. Now you can do it freehand. And all it is a very small miniature version of the same thing we use at the shop, and it works fantastic.
Absolutely.
And in lieu of a buffing machine, I bought a leather strop that goes on the work sharp, and you just turn it around so you're stropping. The belt is running away from the edge, and I have it set up so that the belt is coming into the edge as I'm sharpening, putting a burr on. They do work pretty good. You just got to mess with it a little bit, and I never take the speed past halfway.
Right.
So far, so good. Just FYI, try that.
That's cool. Yeah, because unless you have machines like we have, and let's be honest, some of our machines are $2,700, $3,500. You're going to pay for them. Now, we do have one, and Mikey, you use this. I think did you put it together, the little buddy? Did you put that together? Mm-hmm. That's a Chris's Wilton, right? Or Wilmot.
Yes, but I believe they are not making that machine right now, and are in the process of redesigning it.
Redesigned for the past 2.5 years, so which is kind of a bummer because this is a fantastic machine that he's talking about.
Yeah, Nich actually is borrowing it at the house right now to do
For some projects.
Yeah, but I mean, Mikey, you like that, right?
Yeah.
That would be a good. That was a entry level buy, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was like $1,000 for that machine with
It's a
the
fantastic
3 horsepower
machine.
motor on it. So yeah.
So it is one of the there are machines out there to do it. Luckily, we have X number of grinders at the shop, and every one of ours will sharpen fantastic. So there's no problem with that.
Even the Grizzly knife grinder would probably work
right.
really well for that
That
too.
can be those machines are really good. I would recommend that machine to just about anybody that's interested in anything to do with knife making or reshaping of anything, because even though with those it is a little bit tricky sometimes, it seems like, to get your belt to track stably, like to stay in the same spot when you start to apply pressure to it. If you can get past that a little bit with some tweaks and adjustments, maybe crown your wheels or tape them or whatever, once you do that, that thing is a tank.
Yes. Let me give all you guys a tip that are watching. That Grizzly machine, for the price, is a great, fantastic entry level. Whether you want to make some knives at home, whether you just want to sharpen your lawnmower blades, your wife's kitchen knives, your hunting knives, that Grizzly is a great entry level. Now, as Nich said, it's like anything else in the world. It's going to have its quirks that you need to kind of fine tune for yourself. Couple things that you can always think of doing. Number one, as he said, tape the center of the wheel. Okay. Another thing that I used to do to all of my machines, you know, when you're standing in front of them a while, you're going to wear things out. I'll take a chisel, cut a belt in half. Well, let me just say that. Cut a belt in half first. Run it on there so that you have a 1-inch belt and you have 1 inch of your wheel showing. And then I will take a chisel and score that 1 inch, and then move the belt over and score the other side of that and tape the center. That's giving you good grip area. So that, because what he's saying about tracking, that belt will want to go like this on you.
Or just when you push on it, it'll drift.
Or, right, when you push on it, it'll drift right or left, and that depends on the belt. So this is one of those things. If you crown your drive wheel and you crown your idler wheel, that's going to create a position where that belt's humping when it goes by there. But also with scoring that wheel on both sides, it's going to give it a little more grip to where it's going to run truer. Now, the second thing you can do is there's height adjustments. Get that belt up tight. Now, when you pull the arm down and that belt gets tightened up, you're going to have to readjust all your idler wheels and bring everything back into line. And that's something that I have to frequently do with my machine up front at the shop, is I have to just take a moment, shut everything down, take everything off, clean everything, and start over. I'll go get a straight edge, put my wheels side by side, make sure they're scored, start dialing in all of these things. The third thing that you can do that will help you make that better is change the spring. There's a spring that rides on there that keeps your tension on. And a lot of times, I used to have a trouble with a certain brand grinder years ago. I would push in on it because when I grind knives, I grind. I don't just walk up to it. I get up there and I just push and I haul out.
You're leaning on it.
I lean on them. I'll blow breakers, right, Sammy?
Yeah, you're real good at blowing breakers.
I can't keep his grinder running because it's like every time, Sam, I push on this thing and the thing shuts off, I blow a breaker. Anyway, one of the things, what you got to do is get that spring tension on there, man. Because I used to make that belt, it just keep jumping off the machine when I would start grinding, hogging out a knife. So change that spring tension, crown your wheels, and score your wheels, and you will get a much better tracking. But I would absolutely, no doubt, spend the $600 odd on a Grizzly.
You can buy them from Amazon.
Yeah, because even if you're into it and you like move on, you will never get rid of that machine because you will always find a place somewhere in the shop to use it. I think we have one over at Mikey's station. Sammy's got one, right? Do we have one down?
Yeah, and they use it for tips on the other one.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. We on the sharp side. There's one up there.
Yep.
So
honestly, if we didn't grind with tables, which is a whole nother thing that we could talk about at a later date. If we were freehand grinding only, I don't know that we would need any other machines than those. because they're just so variable. They're easy to replace. They're easy to maintain.
Yeah.
Once you get those kinks worked out in them, they're great. You know, it's got another end, so you can put a wheel on there, so you can run your 2x72 belt, and I would run probably a hard wheel on there, a hard felt wheel, if it was, you know, my only machine.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's just it's a great machine. It's the AK of grinding machines.
Oh no, you're right. Yeah, that's a good analogy.
Cheap, but gets it done.
Yep.
Right.
And then
It's not
all
precise, really, but it can be if you dial it in and put the work into it and set it up right. You can build all kinds of custom parts to fit on there. It's got tons of room for, you know, adjustment, modification. It's great.
and in all fairness, if you do any type outside of knife making in general, if you do any type of metalworking or woodworking, it's really a machine that should be in your shop. It can be wall mounted, it can be pedestal mounted. They're just super versatile machines.
Now, for disclosure, we are not funded by Grizzly in any way.
No.
They're not sponsoring us. We just love this machine. But if
They
you make
should be
keys as a
sponsored.
locksmith, you need this. If you sharpen lawnmower blades or axes, you need this.
If you
This is a great
grind
machine.
axle flanges,
And
Yeah.
I was,
Yep,
I
there you
swear,
go. Car modification.
There's a video out there of Sam, Andy, and myself. It was funny because we're up at Andy's and he's like, "Man, this thing's too big. What are we going to do?" And it was like we both looked over at the Grizzly and was like, "Yeah." And we turned this Grizzly into Sam sitting there with a what? We had a big old breaker bar on the
Yep.
axe. Or what the heck were you? Oh, you were on the spindle, or not the spindle, the oak.
Yeah.
Right? And he's turning it, and Andy's pushing the grinder into the drum. It's beautiful. There's a video of it out there. I also see Dean is on here from Blue Ridge Overland Gear. Hey, brother
Love
Dean.
the popcorn
buddy.
video, Dean.
I was going to say, if you guys have not seen him cooking or teaching how to make popcorn in a scuttle, it's a fairly new video. Well, Dean, if
Awesome.
you think about it, drop the link in there. Let those guys see that thing. Scuttle popcorn rocks, right, Sammy?
Oh yeah, it's delicious.
and in all fairness, Dean's a pretty good cook. He eats good. He's a good cook. So check out that. And plus, we love the guys at Blue Ridge Overland Gear. I don't think we don't own something they make. I think we have just about it.
You guys might not, but I'm pretty
Sammy-
sure I've got it covered.
Sam,
Sammy,
you're
have
supposed
you
to get me
ordered
some
the-
treasure bags.
have you ordered the map folio yet?
I have not. I don't have any maps to put in it.
Oh, you buy it. I got maps full, chocolate, peanut butter.
You'll give me the maps for my
Wow.
birthday?
only for testing purposes. Then I get to use it if we ever drive around again.
I'll think about it. How about that?
All right.
Yikes.
Hey,
It's only-
I see Jeff Campbell joined. Jeff, have not seen you in a while, brother.
How about
I hope all is well with you and you're making it through this little quarantine area that we got going on. Thanks for joining in and hanging out with us.
Dean put the link up? There you go.
All right.
Dean put the link up. So you guys, when you get a chance, now we don't want you to go right now because we're doing this live thing, but soon
Yeah,
we're
save
done.
that for later.
Yeah, go have your popcorn with Dean over there at Blue Ridge. So that's
And
good
one
stuff.
more FYI, I just ran across the videos that Dean was doing on mapping. And I watched the first one, the second one. I got to get on the third one. Those are very good. Dean is very good with the mapping stuff,
Yeah.
maps or digital.
Paul just said he ordered one of the Brog map folios yesterday.
There you
Right
go.
on. Yeah.
Cool.
Dig it. So I know we got really sidetracked because I do that. You can ask Elaine. It happens now and then. But we were talking about steels. We went on to geometry, got on to sharpening, went to Grizzly, had some popcorn, and now we're back.
Hey, it's a
Full
journey.
circle.
The labyrinth of LT's mind.
So, Nick, I know you are like a super steel aficionado, so I'm going to leave you for last.
Oh
So,
wow. Okay.
leave you for-
I do have a practical example I want to show.
Okay, good. Mikey, what is your super steel right now? Your I love this steel moment?
I'm pretty sure everyone can answer this for me, but AEBL,
Yes,
because
we can.
I am absolutely horrible about taking care of my stuff to the point where I actually have a overland machete made in AEBL so that I do not have to care for it.
So that I mean,
Nothing
still
wrong
today.
with that.
No.
There's nothing wrong with
Nothing wrong with it at all, and I'm quite okay with the fact that I don't take care of stuff. But I mean, it's a knife that has gotten abused by not just me, but lots of other people. You can see by the wear on it. It is an amazing piece, and I love AEBL. So I'm okay with it.
And that's actually that's been holding up real nice. Right?
Yes.
Edgewise and everything.
Very well. It's only ever been sharpened twice.
I have to step away for 1 second. I will be right back. Just 1 second. You guys keep going. I'll be right back.
I'm going on to Sammy. It's okay.
Okay.
All right, Sammy. What's your super steel right now? What are you loving?
I don't have a favorite flavor of steel. I kind of just whatever the model is, whatever steel comes in, it doesn't bother me.
Okay.
I'll take them all. Whatever works.
So you don't have like a super preference at this time? Okay.
No, not really. I have a favorite knife. That's about as far as I can go with it.
Gotcha.
Although when he was given the opportunity to pick a steel, he did choose 3B for his Christmas knife.
Oh.
Yes, you did.
Right.
Oh,
Yes, you did.
I did.
Had to pick something.
Yeah.
Although it may have just been a combination
That
of
was probably the piece that would fit.
yeah,
the
it
knife
was
that
the
I
right
designed.
thickness for the knife you designed. But.
Yeah.
Scott, what are you loving as your super steel right now?
Okay.
Still, although it has changed a little bit, CPM 154.
Still loving it.
Still do. I would take that over anything. Although we have, done a bunch of knives in 3V, and I have sharpened a ton of it, and it's very good. Just maybe first love. CPM 154 was the first hot rod steel that I got to sharpen. That I ran it through the paper and went, ooh, that's even better than the Scatty Crafters that were 10.
Good. Yeah.
What were those early Scatty Crafters? I think were they 4140 sawmill blades?
The very first ones were
Okay.
yeah,
and then maybe a
I
one
remember
later.
That steel, that 4140, it wasn't the greatest edge holder, and the Rockwells, we couldn't get them super high. It was still cool. I still like it, and it
Very
still did
sharp.
the job.
Again,
You're going back to geometry.
Yes.
Boy, could that stuff polish. Wow.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Remember that? I mean, when you talk mirror, it would sunlight and blind you. I mean, these things would
For sure.
up a polish like crazy.
Yeah.
I love that stuff.
But my first few knives there in CPM 154, they were just lightsabers. Super sharp.
Yeah.
Very nice. And with the convex edge, just FYI, watch some videos, a mouse pad and 500 grit sandpaper. You get your burr back and take your belt off, strop it, boom. It'll take a little while, not on a machine, but it comes back good.
Yeah, it was very, very good stuff, no doubt.
Yeah.
For me right now, I'm still, man, I'm always going to be an A2 guy. I love that. I'm always going to love D2. But by golly, AEBL is a doggone good steel. And
Yeah.
maybe, I don't know if it's more because, being home, I've been doing more kitchen stuff. And I feel like I don't know. But I'm thinking, I might make myself up a new rig. Because I have some AEBL stuff that's like my camping stuff. But I'm not really carrying it right now because I still carry my A2 Genesis, or I have my D2 Gambler. The folder, I carry that. So like as carrying, I don't really have an A2, or I'm sorry, an AEBL in a carry version. I think I might have to do that because I'm really liking that.
A stealth and AEBL
awesome.
would be pretty nice.
A what?
A stealth.
Stealth.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I don't think you can beat the small powder, honestly, as far as the knives we make.
Yep.
Agreed.
As an EDC knife, my God, it is fantastic.
Yeah, I am not going to disagree with you on that. Half of the beauty of the simplicity of it. I mean,
Exactly.
Handle, blade, point, ready to go. Yep. All right, so Nich, technically, out of the five of us, is probably the knife steel nerdiest guy. He knows. He probably has the, in a good way. I mean, he likes it to where he at night will go on the internet after working with knives all day and look up steels and drool over them. So he's like when I'm asking about a new steel, I usually go, "Hey Nich, somebody's asking me about this. Have you heard of it yet?" So What are you?
Everybody's got to have a hobby.
What's new out there that we have
Ooh,
talked about?
that is a really broad question. In all fairness, for me, I'm just an amateur. I do geek out over the steels. I enjoy it, but that is such a big thing. I mean, someone like LT mentioned that a guy, Andy, was watching our video earlier. Now, Andy is a good friend of ours, and he's a legitimate trained metallurgist, and he's honestly the better person to ask about, compositions and characteristics and all that. But he's taught me a lot about steel just in passing conversations, honestly. And so that is a very deep well. I know there's a lot of super steels coming out. Boy, rattling them off right off the top of my head, that would be tough. But a lot of new developments. One of the steels that we work with pretty regularly, that Scott, I think, mentioned earlier, is 3V. That's just a fantastic steel. Originally designed for shock absorption and wear resistance that way. They found out, though, that it can take and hold an edge. And not every steel can, because like we were talking about in the last Knife Academy, steel, just like dough for bread or whatever, it has different characteristics, different consistencies, things like that. So AEBL is a stainless steel that was originally designed for throwaway razor blades. So, your little safety razors. And so it's not real expensive to produce, but the characteristics as far as an actual sharpened edge go are fantastic. It aligns really, really nicely, holds an edge a long time, is easy to work with. I don't know that I really have a favorite steel either, to be perfectly honest. Like, I like a bunch of them. Any steel knife is going to be better than a bronze knife or a stone, So I'm not terribly picky. Like, I think the right tool for the right job. And for EDC, I really like ABL. And in fact, I've been daily driving this guy. So this is a pocket sheath that I made, actually, with Sam's supervision. But this is our small powder in ABL, very simple little knife. But man, this thing is a little tank, and I just love it. Love it. So that's what I've got there.
What are you running for clip on that?
The Ulti clip.
Okay.
Which, if you don't know what that is,
I was going to say, why don't you talk about that for a second? Can you hook that on your shirt or something? Just show them how bad that thing is cool.
Sure. Well, here, I have my handkerchief. I can hook it onto that. Okay. So if you look at it, it's really a simple mechanism where you've got a steel piece that runs to your hardware to attach it. Then you've got a spring with a hook and then a clamp. And what that does, I don't know if I can't. I'm a little picture on my phone, so I can't see.
Go ahead.
But when you push down on that, it pushes that spring down and hooks onto whatever you've got it clipped to. So, got my chili pepper handkerchief. So you slide that over your fabric like that, and then push down. And then I'm going to take the knife out just to be safe. You're not getting that really off of there if it's real fabric. Like, this is really thin stuff. But, like, that's
your jeans
on there. Yeah. See, there you go.
Right.
And it's really tight on there and just a really great hold, honestly. I love it.
Yeah.
It's really easy, too. It doesn't, like, you'd think that, because this part sticks out over your pocket, you'd think that would be really, I don't know.
In the way?
Big. Yeah. It really, I barely notice it. And I've never had anyone comment on it. And I've been wearing it that way for months now. So, yeah.
No, it's a great clip on my kayak vest, on my personal flotation device. I have pulled it out and bend it over like this, and that's where my hangs. And it's been on there all last season.
I like those clips so much. I took the holster for one of my guns, and I took the old D clip off of it. I had to cut some of the sewing and everything. Put one of those Ulti clips on there, and then re-sewed the whole thing back together. It works so much better.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's good.
Nick.
So So steel wise,
Nick, we have a question.
Okay.
Dwayne
ready.
wants to know: does the Ulti-Clip wear clothing out?
Not that I've seen, because since it's a spring in there like that, when it compresses, it has a little bit of give. It holds very tight, but it doesn't. It's not like the G10 on an Emerson. It's not real aggressive with the fabric. So not that I've noticed, but I did want to say another thing about steel before we move on. We're getting all sidetracked with the clips. So, I kind of have just recently gotten into the slip joint thing. So for you, those of you that have been fans for years, well, I'm starting to get into it now too. So I have two Viper patterns here. All right, one of them is a Great Eastern made in America. The other one is an actual Viper knives made in Italy. The Viper is M390 steel. Okay, it's a great hot rod steel, we would call it at the shop.
Yep.
The Great Eastern, I think it's either 1075 or 1095. I can't remember which. High carbon, old school, very traditional for a slip joint pattern knife like this. Will rust. The M390, probably not. I mean, unless I went and took it into the ocean with me, even then I doubt it would stain it. The thing about this, I love both of these knives. They're both great. I will take the Great Eastern, though, every time for carry over the Viper. And the reason is my bias, for one. I tend to prefer American-made products, so that's one thing to be aware of for sure. But from a steel side and a sharpened side, this knife is so crazy sharp. I just love it. I love it. And it's easy to maintain, easy to resharpen, keep it oiled, it's good to go. And in my mind, does it really matter? Like, does it matter that this one is this super steel that I could probably baton through a tree over this one? I'm not going to do that with either one of these. Mm-hmm. So when you're talking about your steels, it's important to be aware of the job that the knife is doing too, because it may be irrelevant.
Same with the geometry.
These will both open boxes perfectly. They will both slice an apple wonderfully.
Yeah, and a good point that you're making there. I mean, you have probably seen some old timers.
Oh, for sure.
An old penknife, and they don't even know what the steel is, but because they've been behind their tool for 20, 30 years carrying that penknife in their pocket, they can do so much with that.
Yep.
So a lot of times it is. It's like my old grinder versus Sam's brand new grinder.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Does that one run better, truer? Is there more gadgets? Yeah. But I stood behind this grinder for so long, I can control it, even though it's not variable speed. I can make it act like a variable speed because of all the years I had to put it behind it and learning how not to burn wood or melt my car or burn an edge. You just kind of come up with that. So a lot of times we mistake. That's like going into the four-wheel drive stuff. Ford versus Chevy versus Jeep, whatever, Oh, this one's better. Well, I remember when I was about 19 years old going wheeling with some guys. I was in a Ford truck with my buddy, and there was a guy in a Jeep CJ7, and he had groundhog tires. Scott, you remember them things? They were cool.
Yes, but I'm not as old as you.
Good save.
Anyhow, this Jeep was just going everywhere, right? It's going. So halfway through the day, I find out this Jeep doesn't have four-wheel drive. He had broke its front end a while back, and he is in two-wheel drive. And he is going everywhere this Ford full-size truck is going, and then some. And I went, you got to be kidding me. Then I'm going those groundhogs must be awesome tires, right? They must be killer. And then the guy driving the truck, he goes, you think he could be a good wheeler? And I went, okay, it could be that too. So but my point is like, yeah, man, does the knife matter as much as the guy wielding it?
That's a big part of it. Personal experience, I think, is a hugely undervalued thing in our society in general. So, no, not to get preachy about anything, but, using the tool that you have sometimes teaches you more than getting the perfect tool, if that makes sense. Using what you have to get the job done.
Hey, we have a question. Somebody wants to know their thoughts on 52-100 steel, and Paul Fortunato wants to know what steel the Vault Series 8 cleavers were.
Nick,
CPM 154.
That's what I thought so too on that. But
Yeah.
what are everyone's thoughts on 52-100?
Well, before we jump on that, I believe there's one CPM 154 cleaver left at the shop that will maybe make an appearance when we go back to work.
I didn't know
So keep your eyes on it.
You're not counting the cleaver that's on my desk that's like mine. Okay.
Nah.
So, yeah, you don't want to count that one.
I got you covered, Bob. Don't you worry.
Okay. 52-100. I am a fan. We actually did a run of knives in 51-100 equivalent. It wasn't exactly 52-100, but it was the same. I can't remember the designations on it. But we have used 52-100. Yes, I like it a lot. It is a great steel. It's I guess it's easy, or it's readily available, but sometimes for what we're doing and what we're making knives, it's easier to use other steels. That's like for us when we get CPM stuff, it's double the workload, just because we have to descale it, flatten it, and go on and so forth. Where when we can get our O1s, A2s, AEBLs, those come, skinned and ready to go. They're a little bit easier, friendlier for us to get started with. 52-100 is like that. We got to spend a lot of prep time on it. But do I like the steel? Absolutely. Do I think it's a great using steel? You bet. And would I do another run of it? Yeah, we get enough call for it. We put out a short run of 52-100. I like it. It's good steel. I think it was a ball bearing steel when it first started out, wasn't it?
I believe so, yes. Yeah. Good. Now that's a whole nother industry, and that's part of how I got into the whole nerding out about steel, is because my dad was in industrial supply for years and years and years, and he would tell me about bearings. And that's its own world, and just like the knife world, where different steels, different characteristics. It's amazing. Yeah.
Hey, I see Craig Caldwell has jumped on. Craig, good to see you.
Hey.
Good to see you, man.
Howdy.
Thanks for jumping on here. I hope everything is going good for you and your family down there. And if you guys have not seen the Chamonix knife, you need to check it out because it is a home run. It is a sweetheart. Craig came up to the shop, sat down with us, and we worked through a really, really nice knife design. It is, well, there you go. Whoa, how'd you get one of them, Mikey?
You got to know people.
You know that.
His book is on Amazon. It's an awesome book.
Books, plural, with an S.
Yeah. Books, yes, books. I'm sorry, but the new one just came out.
Craig is good people. Craig, why don't you go ahead and put up a link to your store or anything, brother? Let's see if we can't send some people your way. And yes, he knows that we haven't been in the shop, so we haven't been able to make some knives for him. And he needs some knives because I know he's been having inquiries. They've been selling. People have been wanting them. And Craig, I can tell you, as soon as we get back, that's one of the first things, man. We're going to be jumping right on there, see if we can't get you some stuff going. But thanks for tuning in today, brother. Always good to see you. Right on.
Sweet.
Good deal. Good deal. Mike, you got any other questions?
Let's see. We're reading through some stuff. It would be really cool if we did a run of Z-Ware knives. Don't know what that is. And then
what's that, Nick?
I do not know off the top of my head, so I apologize.
Yeah, we'll have to research that one.
And then Charlie said his next knife is the Jesmic, an 01 or 3V, probably ordering it next week.
Okay.
Cool.
Is his question not... Oh, he's got a question mark. 01 or 3V.
Yeah.
You know what? That's going to be... That's a personal preference a lot of times. I mean, what are you planning on doing it? If you want something that's probably a little easier to maintain the edge, 01. If you want Nick, you agree with this?
I do.
A tougher steel, then go 3V. But you're going to have your trade-off, and that goes with anything, and that goes with Rockwells and points of Rockwell stuff. And we have experienced this. We have set out, and we have heat-treated knives everywhere from 56 to 61. And then we have set out with the files. It is extremely hard to know the difference between a half a point, even a point of Rockwell.
Oh,
right?
yeah, for
I
sure.
mean,
For sure.
The average
I mean,
guy getting a knife is not going to.
You won't know. You just won't. And I mean, that's not to say that it doesn't matter, because it does. It does.
Yeah.
You want to maintain everything, but the other part about, like what I was saying earlier, how, steel is a recipe of components. So if you get a steel, and this is why CPM is such a great steel, whether it's 154 or any of the others, it's very, very consistent. So, like, throughout the steel, the ingredients.
CPM stands for crucible powdered
metal.
Just in case someone, I don't know if they all know what CPM means.
So you've got a good comparison. You've got CPM 154, and then you've got 154 CM. Now, those are the same steels metallurgically as far as the ingredients that go into them, but one is a crucible powdered metal and the other is not. The one that is more consistent throughout, has better characteristics involved with those ingredients than the other one does, in my opinion. It's more consistent throughout. So you can get more consistent results because of that. So when you heat treat it, you can run the same recipe and get it a lot closer every single time. Whereas with the other one, depending on the ingredients, and with a lot of steels that aren't consistent like that, sometimes it's a little bit up and sometimes it's a little bit down. Sometimes it sharpens a little bit sharper and sometimes it sharpens a little bit less sharp. Not to say that it's not good, not to say that it's bad or anything like that, but when you're dealing with something that's so much more consistent, it's easy to get in a routine of making it a certain way every single time.
Mm-hmm.
Would you agree, Scott? Because I know we've talked about sharpening like that.
Yeah, for sure. All of don't misinterpret what Nick is saying. Every single knife that leaves the shop is paper checked. And the knife will slide and slice right through a piece of Uline catalog, which is about 3 thousandths thick.
Yes, we measured it.
Now, him and I and Adam too, I think we can cut through that paper and say, yes, it cuts paper, move it along. Or, yes, it's cutting paper, but I can hear a little something or I can feel a little drag. And I know if I go back to the buffing wheel and hit it a couple more times and then do it again, it's just incrementally better.
Yeah,
hard to, and
yes,
I'm sure your average guy would not even feel it. I can feel it. I will go back. And if it's really different, I will, like I said before, I'll go back and roll it on the belt more and thin it out some. Rarely is that necessary. I got them down now. I can, do it consistently at the same time. But the buffing part, hugely important.
Yes.
Or stropping if you're doing it by hand.
Yeah. Or strop, yeah.
And for us buffing, we have a hard and a soft wheel. So we use a combination of hard and soft.
This is a hard felt wheel, and there's 4 different durometers from Durafelt. We use the one that's called hard. And then
that's easy to remember.
There's an extra hard too.
Yeah.
Don't get that one.
If you are, and this is a high speed buffer, 3,600 RPM, depending on the steel buffing, if I can, not just stand right over it. If I can kind of look to the side and watch as I buff that edge. If it's something like a 3V or CPM 154, that steel is so hard and I'm leaning on it so hard because I want to buff that burr off and get it sharp. I can watch the steel deflect that felt ever so slightly as I'm buffing it. And if you ever have one of these wheels or come to the shop and stick your finger around in it, you're like, that's pretty stiff. That's not moving. Well, it can with a certain kind of steel. So that is a good compromise hardness for sharpening 1075, all the way up to a 3V. And it either is multiple passes or pressure. I tell everyone that comes through the class, here's the secret to knife making. You ready? And I go, yeah, time and pressure.
Yep, just like geology. It's the same exact thing, time and pressure. If you have a slower moving wheel, I'm sorry, Scott, go ahead.
You either linger on the belt or buffer longer, or you press harder.
Yep.
And the only way to figure that out is experience.
Yep.
Or come to a knife class and we'll teach you how to do it.
We'll teach you how to do it. And then you
Give you
just
a
got
good foundation.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a T-shirt in there somewhere.
And my old goal for when someone says, "Man, how can I learn to sharpen good?" It's like, you know what? You just start with your wife's kitchen knives and practice, because you turn them all into little boning knives, and you get buy our new set and start over. But there's a lot of time, because you need to have the time behind the grinder. You've got to sit there and do it over and over and over and over. Even if you came to a class, we could get you to go away with a sharp knife and have the basics. But man, you got to go home and you got to stand there and mess up an edge and be able to fix it and do it over and over and over as you go along. And it makes a difference. Same thing with doing the handles or grinding the actual bevels. You just got to put some grinder time in behind it.
Once this was my experience anyway, because I tried sharpening for years before working at the shop, to not much success. The first time a little bit was with a Lansky sharpener. That worked pretty good, that a guy was showing me. But once you do it on a machine and you can see and feel the burr forming quickly, and like take one pass and go, oh, there's the burr. Once you have that in your head and know what to feel and know what to see, buff it off and get to the end result, you should be able to equate that to making a burr on the top of the window on your truck, or a little rock out of the creek, because now you know what to look for and feel when you pluck the end of that. Okay, I got a burr. Nope, I missed the flat part, and then take your belt out and strop it, and Bob's your uncle, as they say. Now
Boy, that is, for me, that is super hard. And I'm the first to say or admit that having the 2x72 grinders and using them on a daily basis at the shop has really spoiled me, because I used to do all my sharpening with stones. Well, I could get a decent edge. It was good. I mean, it wasn't perfect. It's practice all the time. But it was pretty good. But now I can get a really good edge on the 2x72 and the buffing wheel.
And on 1/32 of the time.
Yes, that's exactly it. And it is so hard for me to now go back and sharpen something on a stone. It's like, is this ever going to end?
Of the
Am
time.
I ever going to get there? Well, and consistency.
For me, anyway.
Because when you move on a stone, you have to move steadily and consistently, or you can roll the edge super easy.
You have to be consistent in the way you're holding that knife.
Strop too. Even if you have one of these from Spen, stropping is its own art form. Exactly that. I mean, it's so easy to roll the edge on a piece of leather.
Are you guys in the same room?
Yeah, I passed that over to Nick. Here you go.
Yeah, here. See, I got. Thanks, Scott. I got it.
There you go.
Oh, that's
here.
So
You can have it back now.
Oh, thank you, buddy. Okay.
There you go.
Special effects. Like a Brady Bunch. We love each other on my thing. So, that's good. Oh man. Hey, Sammy, I think really, guys, I think the next thing we got going on is Kydex class in July, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is that like
looking forward to that?
Gary was just asking online if there were spots still available for that class, and I believe there are.
Yes, there is, Gary. There are. You're welcome to come by. We are doing a one-day thing. Let me think. We are doing, Sam, correct me if I'm wrong, a knife.
July 11th.
Yep.
Multi-tool and a knife, Sammy?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Knife around 4 inches.
A multi-tool and bring a knife. Now, do you have your multi-tool rig, Sam?
Yep.
Okay.
1 second.
So we are, when we say, now you won't be able to walk in and design your own rig because there's a time constraint on a day class. But if you can see what he's carrying there, we are going to set up a multi-tool setup. Now, the cool thing about that rig is it also takes Glock mags.
I was about to say, if you're a gun guy,
and if
that little package he's got right there works great for Glock mags, 1911 mags. It's pretty much universal.
And it is a very cool.
It won't take AK mags.
A long time. Now, I'm not presently carrying one because my brother Spin made me a real cool leather rig for my Leatherman, so I'm carrying that. But I do have that set up for like a farm trip or outdoor gear. I do have another setup for that, so I like that. But the knife can be up to about 4 inches blade. No machetes, nothing huge. I mean, Kydex costs money, and it's a time thing. Something about that size. So that would be a taco or fold over.
This is on the next gen.
That's on the next gen. And Nick is holding is that a pancake?
Genesis. It is a pancake, but it's also got a spool on there.
Oh, okay. There you go. So you'll have the opportunity to make the
You
Kydex
should explain real quick, because if I didn't know any better and I looked at the thing that Sammy held up, like, what is that on there? Paracord? It is not. It is 1/8 inch bungee. So it moves.
Oh, right. Sam, you
Yes.
got it? Okay.
This.
Yep.
But it
that.
retains the tool because it's got some springiness to it. Right?
Yes. Every now and again, if you're like me, you'll catch it on something and break it off and have to retie it again.
Hey, that's prototyping, man. That's prototyping. Now that we're talking about Kydex, let me tell you the story of some of my very first Kydex rigs, because if some people don't know this story.
Ooh.
When I first started making Kydex, I'm thinking this is pre-YouTube. I can't remember, but I don't remember being able to see a YouTube video. So I asked this guy that I knew that did a little bit of Kydex, like, how do you do Kydex? And his answer was pretty much like this. Grit. You put it, you fold it, you melt it, you put it together, and you do this, and then it's good. And I'm like, huh. So,
is that all?
Yeah, it's just got to. So anyway, kind of thinking my way through it, it's like, okay, how am I going to do this? So I bought the 2 pieces of foam that you were supposed to buy, and 1 piece of black Kydex, and a Tech Lock maybe, or a spider clip. Can't remember, one of the 2. This was way back. So I said, okay, well, I see how this thing works. So we said, heat it. All right, well, I have an oven. Yeah, we have an oven in the kitchen. Let's put it in there, get it hot, or warm it up, whatever they said. Now, at the time, the shop was in the basement. The kitchen's on the 2nd floor. So I had to get from the kitchen stove down to the shop, into a vise, into this foam. So I was like, okay, how am I going to put this foam together? Well, I had 2 pieces of plywood from something, so I cut them down about 12 by 12, took some super glued it, put the piece of foam on it. I'm like, that's good enough, right? Both sides. So now I got these things, opened up the vise as wide as I could get it, and I'm thinking, okay, I'll put that foam right there. Put the Kydex in the kitchen oven, got it hot, kept reaching in as soon as I could get it, and it would like fall over my hand like it was nice and loose. Elaine opened the basement door, and I would take that Kydex, put it out on the table, laid it on the foam, put the knife in there, folded it over, put the 2 pieces together, and now I have my plywood and my super glued foam and my Kydex and knife, and I'm running down the steps, and I put it in the vise and carrying it down, and time, done. So I didn't have any idea. Again, this was early on. It's like, okay, I didn't know that you could put rivets in it to hold it together, or even add screws down it to hold the thing together. I had no idea how to do Kydex. This is like my first one. So this, and she's still out there somewhere, and the first 10 or so were done exactly this way. I drilled 2 holes where the spider clip or the Tech Lock would go, and that's it. When you put the 2 screws in that hole, and that's all that's holding that whole Kydex rig together. And then I cut it out the shape of the knife, called it done. It looked pretty good. I sanded it like I would on my, on the sanding wheels and belt sanders and stuff. Had no idea. It looked good. Knives sold. I was happy. The rigs worked. I mean, they worked. They worked well. They were not overcomplicated. I can tell you that. So as we've moved up in life, we went to toaster ovens for a long time, and now our buddy Andy turned us on to a T-shirt press years ago. And now we've been using T-shirt presses to heat them, and we have book vise, something similar to a book vise. It's actually the woodworker's vise that we mount instead of horizontal. We mount them vertical with foam in them, and they work real good. So that's
and I
come to the class.
Run down a flight of steps.
Well, yeah, and we don't have to run downstairs anymore. It's all on the same level in the same thing. So that's good.
Come to the class, you'll see the whole setup.
That's right. So
it'll be a fun class.
Yeah, that's in July. Sammy, you know the exact date?
11th,
I believe.
11. Okay, so that Friday night, so that would be the 10th, right? July 10th, we're doing a virtual show at the shop, pizza party kind of thing, and then hang out for Saturday's Kydex thing. Hopefully, the world will be back to normal in a week or 2, and we can get on with our lives, and you won't have to see us from 5 different places. We might be able to sit in the same room and do this. Well, we hope that you guys are having a good time. I hope this kind of helped pass some time for you on this Friday and enjoying it and hanging out with us. Get to ask some questions. I hope we answered everything. When are version 2 gamblers coming, Nick?
When I can get back to the shop, I guess.
There you go, Joseph. That's
I
about
have
the
mine today.
Yeah, that's about the best answer I can give you right now. Is soon. Let's hope. Let's hope. Yeah, I'm still carrying mine every day. So they're coming.
Version 2 is prototyped.
Oh, it is.
And should be ready to go as far as the design goes. So I look forward to that and getting back to that project. But you have to remember every single one of those has to be custom fitted. And Sam can tell you that is a very long process.
What?
It's a little tweak here and a little tweak there. And I must have had those original gamblers apart at least 150 times each minimum. I'm talking like that was on day 2.
Yeah.
So,
it was brutal. I remember you getting aggravated. It's like, I'm not taking these apart.
It was tough. It was tough. He's right. I did. It was tough.
It was a learning curve. So it was fun though.
Oh, I learned.
That was
Can I throw out there too that I know that Nick is not a machinist, but he was thrust into being a machinist to create these little babies, and you did good, brother.
Oh yeah.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
He did a real good job. He did a lot of the sitting there figuring it out, and he'd come to me and go, "What do you think?" We'd look at it, and what's my rule? What I usually say, Mike?
I don't know what I like, but I know what I don't like.
But it came out really, really good. So we're looking forward to getting back and getting some of this stuff done for you guys because we want to do it too. I mean, we like knives and we're like, oh man, we want to get this done. So we're going to get back on there. So I hope this time that we get to spend together is making your Friday go better. If you're looking for some knives, we do have stuff in stock. You can see Elaine pop in and out. She is shipping stuff. We do have some one-offs. If you're interested in seeing them, call the shop. Me or Elaine will walk down to the basement where they're out laying on a table and see. She's got her office upstairs. I'm in the sunroom. The living room's full, and we got knives in the basement. So we're still working from home.
Just like old times.
Just like the old days. So we hope that everyone had a few minutes of your day. We brought you some joy. We sure had fun getting together. This is the only time we get to see each other anymore, is when we do a live feed. So. Yep. All right, you guys got anything else you want to say before we get out of here?
Nope. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Appreciate the support.
Yeah.
That's very true.
Who's having pizza tonight? Just me.
Probably chicken noodle for me.
I'm not going to throw the Scotto out, Dean, but I think we're going to have some popcorn. We'll cast iron it on a stove, though, because now I got the popcorn thought in my brain, and I'm thinking,
do you have Ben Smith popcorn left?
I do.
Me too. Had some last night, as a matter of fact. Watching Young Frankenstein, we were eating some.
Oh, walk this way.
Love that movie. One of my favorite movies.
Dig it.
Right on. All right, guys. Hey, it was good seeing you, and thank you all for tuning in. And we will see you. Maybe we'll do this again next Friday, the Virtual Knife Academy. We gone. Bye-bye. God bless.
See you. Bye.